And we're back. We're back, everyone, and you'll never guess the city we went to after Cardiff. Never. They'll never guess.
They'll never guess.
I'm
there might
Daniel.
be a clue, though. I'm Julia.
And we are now going to Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Or we did, I guess, is better way to say it.
Yeah.
Okay, so when last the Intrepid Travelers they were in Cardiff, Wales.
Mm-hmm.
Cymru. And we decided to go to Liverpool, and as you can see, how did we get there? It says we walked. Did we walk?
We did not walk.
Okay,
we caught the train.
I remember that, yeah.
We caught the train.
We changed trains in Chester.
Yep.
And then we hopped over to Liverpool. Liverpool, the great city.
Well, let's just move on.
Move on for now?
For now.
Pretty.
Beautiful sights.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous. I was, at first, I had to pause and wait a minute, was this Scotland? But no, it was actually very beautiful farmland. And
absolutely, right on the English-Wales border that we were straddling during the train ride.
So let's talk a little bit before we dive into the sightseeing that we did.
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
So, a couple things about Liverpool. We were only there for 3 days.
Yeah.
So
it was fast.
It was a really fast trip.
I think that even includes the day we arrived.
And it was also one of the worst hotels we had stayed in.
Absolutely. Even way past. Like it did not get off the bottom of the barrel.
It was pretty bad. We didn't have a window, which
that's important.
I still
no window.
Was okay with. The bathroom was a little bit better than the one in Glasgow.
Was it?
And it ended up having to be a little bit of our storage space. We actually had to store a suitcase in the bathroom because
there
was
place.
No storage room in our teeny tiny little match.
No,
box.
Absolutely not.
So that was fun. So we spent a lot of time outside in the parks, and we didn't really go to any museums because all of their museums were charged.
We also need to point out that during the same time period, we were doing things online.
Yes.
And so, being in a hotel with terrible internet, I mean, on top of, having no chair or space for a chair, because our room made Harry Potter say, wow, and I thought my room was small.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty awful.
So our place, we found a library, and we spent a lot of time there. Internet was great.
Really good internet. Lots of places where we could sit and just study or do our projects.
I'm a college student.
Yep.
For those who don't know, yes, I am currently a college student. I was a college student then, and I had to get a lot done. So, meanwhile, elsewhere, we decided to show you the library. So,
this was a pretty fantastic library.
Right, so, to give some perspective to it all, this is the museum we didn't go in.
It's they call it the World Museum, and it charged kind of a lot. So we were like, no, thank you.
If we were there more days, maybe we would have felt differently, but we weren't, so we passed.
Right. And also part of our timeline is I had just gotten my computer back from our friend in Cardiff who had fixed it, so we were catching up on a lot of work
that could only be done on her computer. Right.
Yeah.
So explanations aside, that round building that you're seeing on the right, that's the library. The one on the left, because it's one continuous building, right? It seems like it. It's actually World Museum.
The World Museum.
No pause, and then library. Here, let me show it to you from above. Museum,
library.
Right. Now, the entrance to the library is really cool, and there were always people standing on it, so, I mean, it is an entrance. So
it is an entrance. There's always kids there, so we didn't take any pictures of it. All these lists of
books and some movies in here, and Julie and I would decide how many we have seen or watched some version of, and much to the consternation of people standing behind us. We are very friendly people. Anyway. This is the incredible inside of the library. Isn't that gorgeous?
So, one image is us on the ground floor shooting upwards.
Yes.
So that's the image on the left there. The one on the right is us up on one of the higher levels shooting downwards.
Right. And there's actually a poem, if you want to pause here and read it. about Liverpool from a local writer. But isn't this breathtakingly great architecture a temple to learning?
As cruddy as our hotel room was, they more than made up for it for their library. This was one of the best libraries we had the pleasure of being
And that
in.
said, coming right after Cardiff, which was pretty spectacular.
So their library was pretty good,
we were
too.
knocking it out.
So we were on like a library high for a little while there. It was great.
Absolutely.
A little more. Of course, the archives. I was
just right out there.
So excited. The entire floor was just the archive, so I wanted to get a couple pictures in there. It was so exciting. Hey, moving on.
Oh, what's that? I've never seen that hat before.
Why is this city famous? Well, it's famous for two things. One, it's a band came from there.
Some small band back a few decades ago.
Some buggy band, I don't know. But anyway, but the second thing that
the dragonflies
that they're famous for is their ports.
Yes.
So there's a lot of information on that as well.
Sure.
So there you go.
So this is the children's room.
Yes.
The children's reading room, absolutely spectacular.
It was
everywhere.
Difficult to not get a picture. We were determined to get a picture without kids in it so we could post it.
So you notice there's a stroller. There is no child inside. We are so obsessed with doing our best to not creepily take pictures of kids.
But as you can see, there's a little stage for them to enjoy performances and for them to also put on performances.
Right, like
themselves.
If a kid ran up there right now, which was also a challenge because they can perform, right? But you notice there's this ramp-y kind of area here that's going downwards on the right-hand side. And there's stacks of books on each one that kids can randomly pick up and read. On the behind me, or behind the glass up here, these are some books for adults about parenting.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Education books as well. Yeah, it was absolutely fabulous.
So
we've
in
mentioned
our last video we've mentioned Mr.
Picton, the slaver who caused a lot of
bad things in the world,
and
but
heartache.
lots of money.
And so this was
the Picton
reading room. So we thought, okay, Liverpool has a different attitude towards
versus
their
Glasgow.
history than Cardiff or Wales and Scotland.
Oh, it was Wales. That's right.
It was Wales and Scotland. Yes. But
this is directly outside the library on the left, and this is the name, the William Brown Street. That's where the library and the building was there, and this is an acknowledgement of how this building existed.
And it was only through the funds of the ever wonderful trade called the slave trade
the triangle trade
they were able to fund this library. So they have acknowledged they've
doing
still
their
done
best.
They've still
more
done
than America
what
most
they
of
can.
the time.
So anyway,
this is a pretty garden.
There was a beautiful garden that was right across the street. It is called
St.
John's Garden.
Now, I know that when you think of a Sainted John in Liverpool, no, we're talking about John the Baptist. Calm down. This is not Lennon.
It could be, though.
Okay.
This is a little bit of a somber thing. This is a memorial right outside, so it's right next to the sign, the garden sign. And
this is the Hillsborough disaster, which we knew zero about. It says we will remember them, so obviously we had to look up what the heck was going on.
Yeah.
In 1989, there was a football match, and basically part of the stadium collapsed. A lot of people died, and one of the teams was Liverpool. So where do you think the fans were from? They were locals, so their names are all on here.
Yeah. So this was
kind of a big tragedy.
It's a big tragedy, and it's this giant thing right in the middle of kind of their square almost.
One of their main areas.
And these are all just images
memorials around that same park.
So
we have
really cool stuff
some
here.
of them are very small for different, very specific units in different wars.
The park itself had memorials scattered all around it for different issues, different causes, different wars.
World War I.
Yeah.
Some of them were like the Marines in Afghanistan. They were real narrow sometimes.
There's a few other ones, as you can see.
And then we wrap around, and this is a World War I memorial. Giant embossment.
We think this might be in front of the music hall. I can't quite remember because we had taken pictures.
It wasn't a place we actually went.
Yes.
We just took the picture of it.
Architecture is fantastic in Liverpool.
Yes.
But yes, so this is where
the band, right? The Beatles. That was their name.
The Beatles fun. You can't go to Liverpool without having a little bit of Beatles fun. And there's a lot of free things you can do. There's a couple of blocks that's kind of devoted everything Beatles.
Yeah, let's give some more ideas.
So Beats of Liverpool is actually where we bought our chintzy bric-a-brac from and all that. But they have all of their
that's this Strawberry
buildings
Fields.
have names: Strawberry Fields, Hey Jude. This is the British Museum, which also was not free.
The Beatles Museum.
The Beatles Museum. I think it's unofficial, but I don't know.
I mean, there are two of them, I believe, inside the city, which is just also mind-boggling.
So, really cool images. Of course, Sergeant Pepper's restaurant.
Of course.
And of course, any hardcore Beatles fan would be super excited. The Cavern Restaurant.
This is the restaurant.
And this is the actual Cavern Club.
Right, which is now expanded a lot in the last, half century. So now it's on both sides of that street. Mm-hmm. There's a waiting line.
Yep.
It's not playing around.
And cars don't drive down that street.
No,
it is not just people back and forth like us with our phones, with their cameras, taking pictures.
Yep, it's pretty
all
serious.
Over the place.
It's all about those four men.
Yep. But really, let's just honor the coolest. And as you can see, we also used yellow as our background to kind of do a little homage to the Yellow Submarine guys.
Fair enough.
So, but yeah. And
so we went over to the Docklands for a little bit.
Yes.
But remember, we have very little time, so there are pictures of museums we didn't go in.
Buildings, museum, their architecture is ridiculous.
So, just to be confusing, the one on the right is not the Tate, but that's where it was being housed because if you can see...
One more.
Is it one more?
I think it's one or two more over, actually. And we can go back. There. Oh, wait. Well, the actual Tate. There we go.
There's the Tate on the right-hand side. But that was closed for renovations. So, see.
Yep.
This building, this fancy black and white glass building, that's what was housing it at the time.
So
I would tell you what it's like, but, we weren't there very long.
And they also charged, so we were not going in. So that one...
Tate was free.
Tate was free?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But we had no time.
We had no time.
So, I'm so sorry. It was also an apartment building, just to make it extra confusing. So it's not like it had, 50 floors of Tate, like in London.
Right. So this was just some really cool old buildings. So we took some pictures of...
The parts that I skipped over, that's a mule that used to pull some of the goods. These are the ships pulling in, because this is very old docks that are designed for not giant cargo ships. And is this the best shot?
I think that's the best shot.
So what you're looking at is, this is one of their more famous icons. The docks go in. And for small boats, or boats that used to be the size that cargo was shipped in, this is perfect. Now, it is crazy full of people constantly running around. They're restaurants, it's fun, but it is some narrow pathways.
Yes. And not exactly the most stable either. I was very glad I wore my boots that day.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of loose cobblestones and things like that.
It's a little loose, but we're not saying you're going to fall in the water.
No.
Okay, let's move on. You want to point out the Steno line for reasons they don't know yet.
Well, we happened to be taking pictures of the
dock
and the ocean.
And this might be a hint of future.
Yes.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. So I wanted to post this picture up. This is a monument to the one on the left is a monument to Queen Victoria. This was actually right outside of our hotel room, so I kind of wanted to put that out there.
I mean, we could see it out our window.
Oh, wait, no window. Right. And that we realized on the very last day that they actually had a really cool kind of a Chinatown thing going on. But
a lot of things happened.
A lot of things was happening that last day, so we just took a quick picture of it.
Like a third of those pictures are the last day. There was also like 2 malls, surprise, that we ended up in.
And the last picture we have here is this was Nando's, Nando's.
Let's call the whole thing off.
This is something that is
so good.
Very
happening
UK. Yes. This type of chicken, this pity chicken, which is supposed to be North African roasted chicken.
I mean,
I don't know how
it was good. It
colonized.
Was
not sure. Absolutely delicious, but for my Hawaii people, just think huli chicken with different spice.
Yeah,
and it was.
No, that's
but it was
exactly
absolutely, absolutely delicious.
What's interesting about it is how you order. So you have to basically order on your phone.
Yes.
And you pay on your phone. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, but what if I don't want to do that? Then you're probably not in the right place. You just... I don't think there even is a second option.
You order on your phone, you pay on your phone, you can order and pay as you go. So if you order a plate, you decide, I can have a little more.
Absolutely.
And this was one of the only places in the UK that actually had free drink refills.
Yeah, that's really rare.
That was really rare. So I had a lot of soda that day because it was like usually it's pretty expensive.
Why not?
And Daniel had a lot of juice. So
we
nice.
Enjoyed ourselves. This was in I think it's called Liverpool 1, which is the mall that feels very Ala Moana with its indoor-outdoor vagueness.
And lots of little monuments and stuff around it as well.
I'm just imagining people who don't live in Hawaii watching these videos being like, can you reference somewhere other than Hawaii? I'm like, well, this is what we know. We know Hawaii. Right? This place was... There were shops that remind me of Waikiki. They were doing their hustly thing, I mean, this is how we think.
But, so this was our one and only video of Liverpool, and next week we'll have some place different.
We'll be traveling again, because that's what we do. All right.
All right, till next time.